Welcome back to the QZ Show. I'm your host, Quinn Peplow, along with Mateo Zavala. We are here today to discuss our top 3 overrated players in the NFL right now, and top 3 for offense and defense. Yes. So, Mateo, who's your first offensive overrated player right now?
Is OBJ.
OBJ?
Because, first of all...
I disagree, but you can go right ahead.
First of all, he's worth a lot of money, $15.7 million in cap.
Yeah.
But his numbers has been decreasing every single year.
Yes.
And this year, if he played the whole season, he would have only got 730 yards receiving. Mm-hmm. But not just him as a player, but he caused problems for Baker Mayfield during the season. So Baker Mayfield had 7 interceptions the games that Odell was playing.
Yeah.
For 7 games.
Going to Odell or the games he was playing?
The games he was playing. Because he threw 8 interceptions on the year.
Yeah.
7 interceptions with Odell playing. And he has way less QBR and a way less completion percentage. So he caused like a big...
Mayfield felt like he had to throw to Odell's way because Odell's a superstar.
But with Odell being the owl, he had more variety to use. Jarvis Landry, Donovan Peoples-Jones, Austin Hooper, David Njoku. He had variety. He started using his weapons, and he started being a better quarterback. Instead of at the beginning of the year, he kept trying to force the ball to Beckham, and they couldn't get that many wins to play along with their to go with their defense, who's been almost top 10 in the league.
Yeah.
So yeah.
Wow, that's a bold statement. I think Odell's pretty good, but that's your list. Okay. So for my first overrated guy, I think you're gonna agree with this. AJ Green.
I agree.
He's old.
He's getting up there.
People keep saying that he's got like the production that he used to. Like they still think he's gonna be a 1,000-yard receiver. No, nowhere near. I mean, his production has gone down the past 3 seasons. He had 694 yards in 2018. Mm-hmm. He was supposed to come back in 2019. He had like a ankle injury. He was supposed to be out for like maybe 2 games and 4. Then he kept pushing it. Then they benched him the entire year. That was disappointing in general. He was supposed to come back and play. And then in 2020, he was supposed to be the Bengals' #1 receiver. You know, he
played all 16 games as well.
Actually, I think he played
15.
14.
Okay.
No, 16. You're right.
He
played 16 games. He started 14 of those games. Supposed to be the Bengals' number one wide receiver. He wasn't. It was Tyler Boyd and those other targets that Joe Burrow had.
Yeah.
And he only racked up 523 yards in those 16 games.
Is that career low?
That is. Yeah, that is. For starting season for him, 47 catches. He only had 2 touchdowns. He had 104 targets on 47 catches. That is less than 50% catch percentage, which is determined by targets and receptions. Mm-hmm. And you're pretty decent or pretty good if you get like 65, 60s. But he's like 48.5 this season. That's terrible. That is terrible. And he, there was 5 games this season where he had 0 catches. He started 5 games, he had 0 catches, but he had a combined 16 targets in those 5 games. So he's getting the targets, but he's not catching the ball and making plays.
So how do you feel he's gonna bring to Arizona?
To Arizona?
As
he's gonna be. It's probably gonna be the same season
but
he had with the Bengals.
Like, what role do you think AJ Green is going to have with this new team?
I think people expect him to be a number 2, like a good number 2 receiver,
he's
to get 800 and 900 yards.
He's gonna be 3 or 4.
He's gonna be like 3. Yeah, he's gonna be. They're like second wide receiver, but he's only going to get like 500 yards again. Yeah. He's going to get maybe some targets.
Because
Kyler Murray might throw more interceptions towards his way because Green just doesn't make plays anymore. He doesn't make D plays.
Don't forget they have D-Hop, and they probably will re-sign
who knows if it's going to be another Baker Mayfield situation with Odell and Jarvis Landry where he feels like he has to force the ball, and that makes him a little, overrated.
Well, I don't feel like he won't have to force the ball, because if he was forcing the ball towards AJ Green, that'll be if D-Hop's out.
Yeah.
Because D-Hop and him last year were like really, really well. They worked really well together, which people are going to focus more on D-Hop. So he might have a better season than last year, but he's not going to be that AJ Green that he was All-Pro, first team All-Pro. For my number 2,
Yes.
this probably makes sense for most people. David Montgomery.
Yeah.
Overrated. People have been giving this guy like top 5 running back. He's not even in my top 10. So, because he had a great last half of the season, but the first half of the season, he only had 3.6 yards per carry. But here were his opponents, which all these teams are top 10 in rush defense. Giants, Falcons, Colts, Bucks, Rams, Saints. They play the Lions, but the Lions suck, but that doesn't count.
Yeah.
But those are all great defenses, but he couldn't do anything with them. He couldn't do anything against those teams to show that he's like a top 5 running back. Top running backs will torch these defenses.
And the Bears' offense last season, most of their plays were like running plays. Right?
Yeah,
they relied on the running game.
They used the running game, but the other half of the season, he averaged 5.4 yards per carry, but he played probably the bottom 25 to 30 teams in rush defense. He played the Titans, Vikings, Lions, Packers, Houston, and Jaguars. Which all those have horrible rush defenses. Horrible. Which that's where he got all his yards from, his 1,000 yards. So those were like stat boosters. Yeah, stat boosters. Okay. Saved me in fantasy because people dropped him, but he can't make good plays against good teams. Yeah. He can only play good against the scrappy, horrible teams. Yeah. And he only had like 890 yards this last year and 6 touchdowns, but the same amount of carries. But don't forget, that's without Tariq Cohen in the lineup for the other half of the season. For like most of the season. So I feel like those touches. Tariq is kind of overrated. Yeah, he is as well. But his touches are also going to go down this year. He also has Damian Williams and the rookie. Yeah. They signed as well. Yeah. So that's why he's at my number 2 spot. Yeah. All right, my number 2 guy. He's a free agent right now. I think it's pretty obvious who he is. It's Le'Veon Bell. Mm-hmm. He's not an All-Pro anymore, not a Pro Bowler anymore. Yeah. He took the risk, sitting out that 1 year with the Pittsburgh Steelers. Instant regret. Yeah, I agree. Instant regret. He totally lost his deal, missed out to re-sign with the Steelers. High expectations with him going to the Jets. His first season, 789 yards in 15 games starting. That is terrible to Le'Veon Bell for him. But I mean, that's solid for like a decent RB2. The Jets did have a bad offensive line. I will give them that. He was pretty decent in receiving that first year. He had 66 catches for 400-plus yards. He didn't get many touchdowns, though. People expected more yards and more fantasy points from Le'Veon Bell that year, and he just wasn't that explosive back with the Jets. I mean, his expectations, were failures. Yeah. So then the second season with the Jets, we expect a lot more. Yeah, but he sucked again. He only played a couple of games, got only 74 yards, and then he got cut. Adam Gase cut him. The Chiefs signed him, and then people were like, oh, maybe he might be, at least a good second back for the Chiefs. He was pretty okay, but he did better than he did in the Jets, but not as good as the All-Pro. Yeah. They didn't give him that much carries because the Chiefs are a pass-heavy offense. Yeah. So they didn't give him that much. They gave him some opportunities, but he wouldn't get as much yards as people expected. And he's not a receiving back anymore. He's not the elite receiving back anymore. His production and stats keep going down every year, and people don't think he didn't even beat out what's the starting running back for the Chiefs? Edwards. Clyde Edwards. He didn't beat him out. He stayed as a second string running back. And also with Darrell Williams in the lineup, he also was number 3. But did you see the response Andy Reid gave to Le'Veon Bell when Bell spoke out about the Chiefs, saying I didn't like Andy Reid or something? No, I didn't see it. He said, Andy Reid, and I quote, said, "I love working with him. Oh, really? Great guy to work with." Maybe he's got a huge chip on his shoulder ever since he left Pittsburgh. Bell has just been full of himself, but I agree with that. He's very overrated for the money that he's been wanting. So, he's been wanting and the production he's not showing anymore. Mm-hmm. All right, so who's your third offensive guy? My third and last offensive guy is DK Metcalf. Really? I totally disagree, but I'll hear it. Hold up. he drops a lot of passes.
He does,
That's why he brought me on this list.
Yeah.
And when he goes against like top corners, he doesn't. He's kind of like David Montgomery almost. He doesn't seem to really make a lot of plays.
Yeah.
Because when DK gets locked down, Tyler Lockett has a good game, and DK always drops the ball, and he doesn't always drop the ball. He was 6th in drops this season. And
how many drops did he have? Does it stand there?
He had 8.
He had 8 drops. But he did drop a lot.
He did drop a lot of passes, but he wasn't really good against good corners.
And he did get shut down a couple times. I saw that.
Exactly.
Like the eyeball test when you just watch the game and you just know.
Exactly. Like you just know that he's gonna make the plays against those. He has it up and down. He's just like barely made the list. That's why I put him there, because he drops a lot of passes, and people say he's like a top 5 receiver in the league, and I strongly disagree. He might be like 11th.
I agree with you there.
Like, I think Keenan Allen's better. I think A.J. Brown's better. I think Calvin Ridley's better.
And they do try to compare him with like Calvin Johnson Jr. already.
Exactly. Which, that's not even it's
kind of
way,
ridiculous.
Way too early. Like, Julio should be getting that recognition, because Julio's built the same as him.
Yeah, they are. Both, big, tall studs who can catch the ball.
Yeah.
All right. So for my third guy, Dallas Cowboys, Amari Cooper.
He was going to be on my list.
The reason why I have him overrated is because he's on the Cowboys, and I expect him to get 1,400 yards to 1,500 yards a season. This guy's most receiving yards he's ever had. He's played, I think, 5 or 6 years in the NFL. He's gotten, the most receiving yards he's ever had was 1,183. And it was this season with the Cowboys. And he doesn't even have and he's so inconsistent in games.
He also drops a few passes as well.
He drops a bunch of passes. And he gets shut down by good corners too against good defenses.
Yeah.
But so he has a bunch of really inconsistent games where it's like stat boosters against bad defenses. He gets 10 catches, 83 yards. Next game he'll get 2 catches for 20. He's had
which it kind of goes along with what I was saying about DK Metcalf and Tyler Lockett. Like, if Amari has a bad game, CeeDee Lamb will have a great game. Or Michael Gallup. But don't forget, Amari Cooper is costing the Cowboys a lot of money.
Yeah, 5 years, $100 million, $60 million guaranteed.
$20 million cap hit.
I don't think he's worth any of that.
That's money that they do not need. They need to get rid of him. Because they have 2 receivers.
They don't need to get rid of him. They need to restructure his contract.
Or they need to get rid of that money.
They're acting like he's like an elite Dez Bryant. A way elite Dez Bryant.
Yeah.
And he's
prime Dez Bryant. Yeah, he's not.
Dez Bryant had 1 or 2 great seasons. They think he's that tier right now.
No, he's not.
And he's going to be that for the rest of the career. But that's, no.
Yeah, but they also have a star receiving group.
They do.
Which that's going to be hard competition for him to make up for that.
I mean, with my expectations, he should be getting 1,600 yards a year because Dak passes the ball a lot now. He might even lead the league next year in passing yards. So, I mean, this season should be a good opportunity for him to prove me wrong. I don't think so.
I agree with you 100%. My number 1 defensive, so now we're on defense over players. Defensive. My number 1 for defense is still with the Cowboys, DeMarcus Lawrence.
Oh, really?
Because, first of all, I'm bringing in the money stuff to this.
Yeah.
Because the Cowboys are going to be on the cap for the next 5 or 6 years. DeMarcus Lawrence, he's a $25 million cap hit in 2021. He hasn't had he hasn't had over 10 sacks in 2 years. And for playing all 16 games the past 2 years, the highest he's got was 6 sacks.
Yeah.
Which, for being supposed to be the top guy on the defense, he hasn't been making those top plays. I mean, he gets a lot. He got four forced fumbles, 4th in the NFL, but that's all he can do. He's making all this money for doing not really much on a not good defense.
But they give up so many points, too.
Exactly. If he was the star that everyone's telling him he is.
Yeah.
Because I'm also going from Madden too. He's also a 90 overall in Madden.
Yeah.
Because
Madden loves to overrate
players
and Cowboys players.
Players especially. Yeah, I agree. But he is not worth that money. He only got 5 sacks this year, which for playing 16 games, 5 sacks, and they didn't they did not play really good offensive lines. The Giants do not really have a good offensive line.
No.
They played the Eagles with a terrible offensive line.
Yeah.
And he couldn't do anything with them.
Yeah.
That's why I picked him.
All right. So for my first guy that I picked, it is Jamal Adams. The only reason why I overrate him, he's a great tackler.
Yeah.
He can force
Great
the hits.
sack. Great.
He does get a lot of sacks for a safety, but to me, I think he's overhyped for his value. And like
the Seahawks gave a lot.
as a safety, and like it's close to a DB, I expect it for him to force
interceptions.
a lot of turnovers and interceptions. He doesn't do that.
He only had two. He only has two
in his
interceptions in his career.
Entire career. He's played 4 seasons. He does have a crap ton of tackles though, but I just don't think he's like. I think he's overhyped, and like he doesn't force that many fumbles either. And
he's honestly, if he just being like a sack person, he might. If he bulks up, he could play weak side linebacker.
Linebacker, maybe.
Because that's what they do with a lot of safeties.
Yeah.
They put him on weak side linebacker. Or I mean, I agree with it because like the Jets that same draft they also got Marcus May, which he's been performing like.
Yeah.
Marcus May's been performing better, like not with like tackles and that stuff, but with like pass deflections and that stuff. Like I feel like they got rid of the wrong guy.
They did.
And
they gave up so much to the Jets to get.
Yeah, the Seahawks gave up
Jamal
2 first-round picks for Jamal Adams.
Yeah,
that's incredibly outrageous for a safety where they could have re-signed Earl Thomas.
Yeah, they could have. I still think Earl Thomas is pretty decent.
Yeah, and
but
he'll make
maybe right now.
not anymore, but at the time, yes.
Yeah.
So I agree with them 100%.
Okay, who's your second guy? Defense.
Byron Jones from the Miami Dolphins.
Yeah.
So like, for being he was the highest paid corner in 2020. And now his teammate Xavier Howard is.
Yeah.
But in 2020, he got only 2 interceptions. He got that's tied for 41st in the NFL.
Yeah.
But don't forget, he's making 5 years with he's a $14 million cap hit, which is outrageous for his numbers. He was only a Pro Bowler twice in his whole career.
Yeah.
Which he should be getting a lot more interceptions or more pass deflections for being that top guy. He only has like, I think, 8 pass deflections. No, not 8, 5.
Yeah.
Which is not a lot for a corner of his caliber and his money. Which, for being on the outside, he should be playing against weaker opponents. Because Xavier Howard's getting the harder guys.
Yeah.
He should be able to make better plays on these weaker guys.
Yeah.
More
it's just
lockdown.
crazy how Xavier Howard's got the number 1 receivers and number 2
Exactly,
receivers.
and Byron
He's forcing
Jones
more picks.
And Byron Jones is not really making more of an impact to the team. It is costing him a lot of money, so I wouldn't be surprised if he gets traded within the next 2 years.
It's a nice hot take. All right, my second guy. I think he's been overrated for a hell of a long time. Should not be in these many Pro Bowls, but it's Patrick Peterson. That guy gets cooked a lot in games, and he barely gets interceptions too.
But
he had his second year. He had 7 picks. The rest were like 2 interceptions every season.
Do you know he's younger than you think?
How old is he?
31. He's 31 years old. He was born in 1990.
Was he like 22 when he's drafted?
Yeah, he was very young when he was drafted.
Yeah, he had a great rookie year, but I think he's overrated, overhyped on the defense.
Especially like the Vikings, it's like the Vikings' main free agent signing, a washed-up Patrick Peterson.
Yeah, washed-up Patrick
He got cooked,
Peterson.
like you said last year. His completion.
In the past couple of years, he gets cooked, even by number 1 and number 2 receivers.
Yeah.
In 2020, on the player profile by NFL.com, when quarterbacks were throwing his way the entire season, he allowed a 115.5 passer rating. And a 70.3% catch percentage.
That's really high. That's like horrible numbers.
That's a little
Below
more than
average.
average. More than average for receivers that catch, the ball for their catching percentage.
Yeah,
it's pretty bad for a DB covering that.
I mean, is this contract like $10 million this year?
Yeah, 1 year, $10 million.
Yeah, which that's a little bit. That's a lot of money for a Vikings defense that's trying to rebuild.
Yeah.
Honestly, I would use that $10 million to sign they also signed Brashard Breeland, but they should use that money for something else.
Yeah.
Patrick Peterson is not worth that kind of money.
And that catching percentage is ranked 69th among DBs, and
Nice
the
number.
passer rating thrown to is ranked 70th among DBs this season.
Yeah, I agree. Like people are thinking like these older guys still got it in the tank.
I mean, he's still pretty decent. He's just overhyped. He's never.
He's
been,
not.
He's
like
not a number
all
one.
pro.
He's not an all pro.
Yeah.
He may debatable Pro Bowler, but like he's not like the number one
Guy
best DB
anymore.
for the past 4 years.
Yeah.
When I do the eyeball test.
I agree.
Yeah.
And going to mine, number 3, I gotta go with. Sorry, Chicago fans. I got 2 Bears players on my list. Robert Quinn.
You know what? I'll go with my number 3 guy. It's Robert Quinn.
Oh, up top.
Let's go.
Robert
Keep
Quinn.
going.
Okay, let's rant about this.
Yeah.
5 years, $70 million contract for only a guy who got like double-digit sacks like twice. Was it more than
No,
twice?
he had 10.5 sacks with the Cowboys
last
right?
year. But
Maybe
he's
it
like
was
29, 30.
He's like 32.
Yeah, he's going on the wrong side of 30, which is really, really old.
What really upsets me is he started 13 games and had 2 sacks and 20 combined tackles. Just 20.
Exactly.
That's
yeah.
terrible. For like.
And he
playing
started 13
games.
of them.
Yeah, he started all 13.
Exactly, and he hasn't.
The sacks
had,
are bad, but the tackles
Yeah.
are completely terrible.
The
That means
tackles
like he's
are-
not doing anything.
And he got 0 tackles for a loss.
Yeah,
0.
yeah.
So like, for being that guy that paired up with Khalil Mack, oh my gosh, this would be the best duo ever.
There's high expectations.
High expectations,
this
but
season.
he's done nothing. The Bears should bad move by Adam Gase. Not Adam Gase, Ryan Pace.
Ryan Pace. Yeah,
Yeah.
because they have a loaded. They have some good linebackers, Roquan Smith, and they have some decent DBs and free safeties. They have a good defense that was determined to look like
Yeah.
maybe a top 10. They weren't even a top 10.
Where they could use that money
Yeah.
for better players this year. And guess how many QB hits he had this year? Just take a wild guess.
I'm gonna guess 2 or 3.
6.
Grade 6.
Which is extremely low for a right outside
That's still
linebacker.
bad. Yeah.
He at the beginning of his career, he had like his best seasons, he had 34 QB hits and 19 sacks in his
Yeah.
prime year. But he hasn't done anything since. He hasn't done that many tackles at all. He only got 2 sacks this year, like we said earlier. And yeah,
he was a stud for the Rams those 2 seasons, and then he had one more good season with the Rams. He had a good season with Denver.
Dallas.
Or Dallas. But he didn't do well in Miami in his last couple of seasons with the Rams. But the Dallas one made people think that maybe he's a Pro
back.
Bowler again.
But
Maybe
he was
could do it
31.
all.
He was like 30, 31.
Yeah, but he looks he
washed.
completely regressed,
Yeah, for sure.
and he's overrated and washed.
Yeah. So that's gonna wrap it up for the QZ
Yeah,
show
that's-
tonight.
Yeah, that's going to wrap it up for us tonight. Everybody check out our TikTok, at the QZ Show. Check out our other videos to stay tuned for the week and so
And
on.
don't forget to subscribe down below, and our link to our merch is down below if you want to buy some merch.
Yeah.
And with our YouTube, if we're almost at 100 subscribers, once we hit that 100 subscriber mark, we'll give you guys a lucky fan a $20 gift card of your choice,
Yes.
and a free T-shirt of QZ.
Yeah, of their choosing.
Of their choosing. So just hit the subscribe button, share it to your friends, so we can express our football knowledge to them.
Yes.
All right.
That's going to do it for the show today.
All right. Have a good night.